Welcome to Landria Onkka on YouTube, here to help you break through those fears and live an awesome life. Alright, I want to talk today about really matching your desired frequency, matching that which you desire. Everything's a frequency and everything's energy. So if you can think about everything as an energy that you need to simply resonate and match to be in that reality. So these are all just limitless realities. Whether you believe this or not, just work with me here for a minute, okay? Because this could possibly expand your mind into an area that you think, maybe that's possible. And when you open your mind to all possibilities, you open your mind to all probabilities. What's that mean? All realities. And then you actually say yes to potential realities that you might say, oh, this is ridiculous. Well, that will be your reality then and your truth. So let's go into another reality and another kind of truth that you might not be thinking right now, which may be inhibiting you from expanding into all the things that you right now don't believe you can achieve. So the reason I want to bring this up is because, as you know, I'm a business person. I've owned my own company since I was 19 years old. It's the first time I launched my own business. Many, many, many businesses, of which most did not do very well, because it was all a learning curve. But I never thought of it that way. I was like, okay, I tried this. And then what you find out along the way is you have a lot to learn. And just like everything in life, right? Riding a bike is so simple, except for when you first get on it and you skin your knees a few times. Everything's like that. And it's not until later on you become very wise and you look back and you go, wow, I would have done things different. But why would you have done them different? At the time, that's all you knew. And I want you to remember this as we go through this discussion. You're always learning, and that is something we should not avoid. That is the beauty of expansion. That is, wow, okay, I have these other things I can pursue, or I tried this and didn't work, but it opened the door for something else, which means there are no failures. There are no failures. Oh boy, how great is that? I don't care what anybody says out there, they're not getting it. And that's okay. They can stay in their own limitations. So somebody last night teased, and we asked, she was so funny. A friend of ours at dinner said, we said, why didn't you ever try, and we were talking about, had to do with career. She says, well, I didn't want to fail. I said, we started laughing really hard. I said, well, that'll eliminate failure, not trying at all, which she thought was funny too. She was joking around. But that's really how most people go through life. Now, this is a very successful person. But making a joke about that, I realized that is how most people go through life. I won't try that because I'm going to fail at it. So you've already got in your head you're going to fail. And second of all, you think that if it doesn't work out the way you think it should, it's a failure. Both of those do not have to be true for you. Because if you put that aside, you will now resonate on the frequency of extremely successful people. Now, I'm not talking about enlightened or awakened people. I'm talking right now about matching frequencies that you want to go into if you want to accomplish certain things in your life. You know me, I'm always saying go to the highest frequency, go to the one of giving and love, and that's going to really take you to amazing places. So within that are those high frequencies. You should always be shooting for that if you truly want to find inner happiness, right? So let's just talk matching frequencies right now. I get emails quite frequently from people who want me to promote their stuff. Now, why do they want me to promote their stuff? They must think I'm successful on some level, and that would be true. I'm accomplishing and have accomplished a lot. So as a person who worked as an investment banker, somebody who funded companies, who worked with CEOs, and we helped them to become successful, I spent 25 years doing that. So I have a pretty good knowledge base and a lot of experience in helping people become successful in business, which means profitability, right? You want to be able to hire people and pay your bills and pay yourself. And hopefully you're promoting something of value. This is where the new age goes into. Now it's just not about that. What we offer has to be of value. But that's not this video. So let's say you have all that in place. Well, I get people who write me and they want me to work with them and promote their stuff. And I'm going to tell you something. If you want certain things, if you desire certain things and achieve them, and you've got it in your head and you feel pretty confident, if you are not resonating on that frequency, you have zero chance, especially in business, zero chance of being successful. And you may argue with me, and I'll give you examples all the way across the board. No successful person who is looking for quality and value and doing all the work is going to resonate with a person who's not doing that. They will not risk their reputation or their own success for somebody who's not willing to put in the work. I've had people ask me for millions of dollars. I've had people ask me for money to launch their own books. I've had, just seriously, just asking for money, and I'm just perfect strangers. And I'm supposed, because I'm successful and I have money. So first of all, they don't know anything about me, and they don't know what I do or don't do. And a lot of people assume, well, you should give things for free. I do. I actually have scholarships for business. I do. So again, take things for face value and say, all right, I don't really know anything about this person, but I would like to collaborate with them. Let's study that and say, what is that person doing? What can I learn about that person to find out what it takes to be in that successful position that I desire? All right, if this is your thing. Well, probably somebody who's very organized, probably somebody who works very hard at what they do and may love what they do. They're very passionate about it. Most successful people are very passionate about what they're going after. Probably is doing all the work, like probably has a plan, probably, watches everything that's very important in business, not, shooting by the hip kind of thing. All right, probably, has everything in alignment and probably will not work with somebody who's not doing the same thing or better. So do you think somebody, and I'm going to use myself an example because I know what I do for, work. I know how hard I work. Do you think that if you write an email and you don't even give me your full name, there's no presentation, organized presentation that says, here's what it is, here are the costs, here's the potential market, here's the potential profitability, here's how I'm going to market it, here's what it does, here are the details, here's the business site you can go to, here's my background, you can check me out. Do you think if I don't have all those things, I'm going to really give this person attention? No. Would you hire somebody to say you have a company and you want somebody standing up there greeting everybody that comes into your office? Would you hire somebody who walked in, who hadn't brushed their hair or teeth, who had their jeans on with holes in it and a t-shirt, schlepped in and then just sat down and really No, of course you wouldn't. You'd pick the most astute, well-dressed, clean, kind, courteous person, because it's your company and that's how you want to be represented. I want you to think of everything you do in your life this way if you want to achieve these goals. And a lot of you ask me about this. So you want to sell things to me? I said, okay, where's your website? Where do these materials come from? What are you going to charge? What are the shipping costs? Are you giving to charity? Show that to me. I need to see that if that's true, because, that's important to me. They can't answer any of the questions. You may have one shot at a lot of things, including relationships. If you want that really fit together person, and you come in and you have no self-esteem, no self-love, you're not taking care of your body, you're overweight, you're not feeling good, you're not talking nice about yourself, do you think in that moment that you have to meet the person of your dreams that they will give you the time of day? Well, they're probably going to be a nice person and talk to you, but they sure won't call you for a date. You're not on that frequency. What do you think they want? So a lot of people, they blame, well, you shouldn't care about looks and that. Really? You seem to, right? You got to ask yourself, do you? Yeah. Okay. If nobody should care about that, how somebody takes care of it. And I'm not talking about good-looking people. I'm talking about taking care of what you have. Would you want somebody who doesn't do what, take care of themselves like you do? Of course not. You're not resonating. Everything in your life works this way. Your business, say to yourself, I have one shot at this, because you really do. Every moment is one instant gone. And that's not even true either. There's not even really time, because there's no one instant that stops. It's always continually in forward motion. You always have one shot at everything, because every reaction, every thought, every time you respond, you're shifting into different realities, which, by the way, accumulatively shifting into realities take you down a certain path. And then a lot of you say, I don't know how this all happened. I'm like, let's think about every reality shift, every little reality shift that kept you over here when you wanted to be over here. Every little, tiny little thought, reaction, words, action, everything you did kept you down that path, and then boom, the divorce, the loss of the job, the financial tank. Now, there are different reasons why some of this happens. Some of it happens because you do get it, and it's releasing you from stuff that you don't need to be anymore, which is why a lot of you are losing that stuff, because you're going over here. You're making choices, and these little reality shifts go over here. You're going, I'm going to make the best choice at this moment, and that's that 3-second manifesting. I have 3 seconds to catch myself and go over here. Actually nothing. To go over here, boom. I've got to keep shifting, but I have to believe it too. So now I have to start getting to the root of why I'm not believing that. So let's say I have this great invention and I want to present it to somebody I think would be a really good match. Let's contact Landria. I have one shot. How would Landria want to see that? Well, you don't have to know me personally to know what it takes to get somebody's attention. And it's not I used to say to my clients, don't fall in love with your own product. Why? My friend just said that to me about don't fall in love with certain real estate deals. We were looking at real estate deals. Don't fall in love with it. You have to have a professional mind on it to have it make sense, or the repercussions later on. If your gut tells you, I fall in love with something, but I see all these other things that are wrong, and you go with it anyways, don't be surprised. And that's how life works in every area of your life. So if you look at me and say, okay, I want to present something, well, she needs to know who I am. So I'm going to tell her exactly who I am, where I live, my background, everything about me, and where she can look information up. Not sometimes they don't even put their name on it. This is hysterical. I find this really interesting. I'm thinking, this is why you're struggling. You're not putting your best foot forward, because that's a higher frequency. Why? Because you might have to sit at the computer and do some research and really get your act together and learn how to run a company, if that's what you want. Otherwise, you really don't want to learn how to run a company. You want somebody else to do it for you. And again, that's looking outside yourself for the answers. It's all here, baby. It's all right here, and you've got it. So if you're not willing to do those things, then you cannot aspire to match the frequency of somebody who is willing to do that work, because it's a very competitive world. This is why I learned how to use the internet. It took me at a completely different level in my businesses. I had to get out there and learn this stuff. This is how you reach global markets. This is how you can change the world in a very positive way. So you say, okay, what else would this person need from me? Here's the person of my dreams. All right, I would like to be with a really fit guy who's very active. He loves to travel, and he is successful financially, because I don't want somebody, I get that all day on the internet, right? People writing me, help me. Right? I want somebody who's self-empowered, that knows that they're in charge of that. I'm not talking about, it's all about the money. I'm talking about somebody who's self-fulfilled, self-sufficient, taking totally responsibility for their life. That's who I want. So if I go to somebody and they're insecure, or they're not taking care of themselves, or they're eating junk food, or, they don't like to do some of the things I do, it's not going to be a frequency match. So you don't expect to get that relationship, if that's not the frequency you're on, they're not going to come down here. You're not going to attract them. I'm going to attract this perfect person. No, you're not. You're not on their frequency. And this is this really distorted kind of thinking the ego goes through, that thinks it can just manifest anything when it's nowhere near on that frequency. Nowhere near. It's not going to happen. So when it comes to business, when it comes to your job, if you're walking in there and you don't think you're qualified, that person interviewing you will absolutely think the same thing. You are sharing the same consciousness. That's a little scary. And they really are picking up on that, by the way. It's like, have you ever done that? Like, something about this person, I didn't really believe what they were saying, or I just get this gut feeling. People have said to me, how do you know this stuff? And I said, you know, it's a gut feeling, just a gut feeling. I don't care what they're saying. I can pick up on what they're feeling and thinking. And you can do the same thing. So if you want that positive response, then the inner work has to be done. What is the frequency of a successful person, of a financially abundant person, of a person who's in a very good state of peace of mind and spirit? That's a person who's doing the work, not somebody who sits there and thinks it's just going to plop in their lap. That's not somebody who's enjoying that journey and understanding why we came here. So say, okay, I'm going to do the work. I have to shift gears. I have to start thinking differently. I have to stop the story in the head. I have to say, if I want to be that person, and I always say, who is that person you desire to be? How do they act? How do they think? So I just released a video. You know, there's one practice I do to raise your frequency and snap out of anything. I ask myself, what would the enlightened Landria do? How would the enlightened Landria think? And I imagine that. So I'm now off of any kind of negativity or triggers that might be over here. And I'm now focused on my highest self that exists right now. And I'm shifting into that reality because that's the frequency I want to be on. And I no longer want to have these thoughts that might judge somebody else or disapprove. We all do that. It's an automatic thing. You got to catch yourself saying, wow, I'm not feeling compassion and I should. So you don't have to agree with everybody. You don't have to love everybody in that kind of way. But if you have compassion, you are going into the space of love. You know, then you'll start to feel a little bit more of the love because you're thinking, wait a second, this is a hurting person over here. You know, just like me. They just have different problems and maybe they're not as spiritually advanced as you. So that's the same thing with the frequencies. You're not resonating, so you're going, oh, I don't want to be that. What would the enlightened me do? The enlightened me would say, bless that person, move on. You are now going to focus on a different frequency. And what is that? Abundance, success, whatever. Who's in that frequency? Other people who are doing the work. And if you guys don't want to do the work, that's fine. Then don't expect results of that the people who do the work get. Why do people that are successful do the work? Because they're loving what they do. It's not work. We just use that term. I put more hours in than I ever did as an investment banker, which shocks the heck out of me. Because at first I didn't. I was like, wow, I was actually a little bored. Because I love being productive. And I think very successful people never sit down for 5 seconds. None of my friends do. They are constantly going, even when they don't have to be. So what do we do when we get together? We start looking at stuff that we could do and how we can, you know, travel and all these other things we can do because we're always expanding. And that's the mentality of a higher frequency of expansion. People want to do and go and expand and you know, say yes and maybe go into uncomfort zones. That's where successful people reside. So when I say higher frequencies again, resonating on a frequency of where you want to be isn't always the high one. Right now I'm talking about matching a frequency of what you desire. What does that look like? What is that person doing? Not like, oh, you picture yourself eating bonbons and that's what you desire. What did they have to do to get there? And I'll tell you what, every successful person worked their tail off. I know, I've been around them my whole life. All of them. They're really hardworking, amazing people. Whether they're nice people or not, that's their business. It's not up to us. But if you desire certain things, again, what does it take? Be that person. You've got one shot. Say that in your head. I have one shot at this. Wow, I better go change my clothes. I better go brush my hair. Or I better, start working out. Or, wow, I better stop trashing people and talking, down. I better stop being nasty. Because every word I say and everything I do that's negative for no reason, no good reason at all, is really coming back on me. And I'm staying down in a frequency with other people because people on higher frequencies don't want to be around it. So what do? Delete. That's what I do. Delete. I don't need to look at it. It serves no good purpose. That's okay. If you want to be that person, go ahead. It's not in my frequency. It's not a match to what I'm doing. You know if you're matching a frequency or not. You know if you have negative thoughts. You know what you're doing. We all do. We're not stupid. You're highly intelligent. You have the power of the universe. So what would that person do? How would they think? What's the enlightened you doing right now? How's the enlightened you thinking? Enlightened people generally don't think. That gets you in trouble because that's usually the ego. There's no thought that's required. So ask yourself, what do you desire? Are you doing the work? Are you doing the foundational work? Because that's what you're really here to do. There's so much learning. There are no failures. There's so much learning in that. Don't be afraid to do that. Don't be afraid to say, oh, I screwed up. I have business owners, man, they lose tons of money until they finally become extremely wealthy. Why? Because they know that's what it takes to get to that place, and they're not afraid to invest in themselves to get there. Other people, oh, I'm not spending money. Well, there's your frequency. There's your frequency. You think it's limited, you're not willing to invest in yourself or your expansion or even your mistakes to learn, to get better. You think you're going to go out there and be a rock star doing nothing, right? Not investing in yourself, and I'm not talking about just money either. So let it go. Open up. Go learn. Make mistakes. It's growth. There's no such thing as failures. Keep going. You're going to learn and you're going to make your way. And finally, somebody's going to say, damn, wow, you did all this? Holy cow. All right, you've been doing the work. Yeah, I want to work with you. Or I want to hire you. Or yeah, I want to date you. Or whatever it is you're looking for. Match that frequency. And you will absolutely not feel like a rock star. But other rock stars are going to want to know you. And that's going to be amazing. You are whole and perfect, strong and powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. Blessings, my friend. Namaste.